Hello my friends, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 56 in the violin class for beginners course. I'm delighted that we're coming so far in this course and you're making excellent progress. The piece that we're playing today, I keep going on about this, I keep having to say this nowadays because the books diverge a little bit towards the end. We're playing from the Red Book, a song called The Good News, which you can find on page 35. This does not appear in the green version of your book if you play from that. But check out the description below this video and I'll put a link to that piece there so you can still join us and play this, because it's a really nice piece. Today we're just recapping all the things that we have learned. So by the end of this lesson you will have refreshed your memory on the notes on the A and the D strings. So let me play it for you first. Lovely jolly song, I really like this one. So you've got literally everything there. Have a look at the key signature now and you can see one sharp. So we're coming away from the flats that we've been doing in the previous lessons. Forget about the flats. We're having one sharp and that is called an F sharp. And that means that on the D string your second finger is going to be wide. So be aware of that. You've got this finger pattern here. If you have a look at your last note, it tells you that it is a G, which means that we're playing in the key of G major. Now, you have learned the key of G major, the scale of G major already, and that finger pattern in the scale of G major was wide, wide, close, close. That is something that I find a very basic starting pattern, so I would expect you to know that by now. So whilst the key of G major has got this finger pattern wide, wide, close, close, in our piece today we're going to come across two accidentals, and you may have spotted them already in the second line and in the third line of your piece, where the C natural changes to a C sharp. So the composer just tells you there, don't play the C natural now, instead have the C sharp. So whenever you play on the A string you've got a wide second finger there. What I also love about this piece is towards the end of the third line, you get a dotted rhythm, and I think that from a teacher's perspective, that is absolutely genius to put it in there. We've got the exact same rhythm as we had in our previous lesson, maybe you remember, where we were splitting the dotted crotchet note, the dotted quarter note into 3 quavers or into 3 eighths notes. So when you go and hit the end of line 3, you want to count it 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear that? Okay. Would you join me? We're starting in the middle of the bow because we've got these short repeated notes. But we're going to go a little bit more slowly so we can pick up the notes as we go along. Now our time signature is 2/4 time, so I'm counting 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll count us in two bars, so we've got a little bit more time to get the hang of it. But we're counting 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, because that is how we're going to start our playing. So let's get ready in the middle of your bow on the D string. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. previous lesson, we have tried to spot scale patterns and arpeggio patterns. And that is a very good skill to have in this piece as well, because you can see the first two bars have got arpeggio patterns where you've got leaps between the fingers. We're not playing in the right order, if you like. That happens in the third bar. So we've got a scale pattern in the third bar, but in bars 1 and 2 we've got arpeggio patterns. So shall we do that again? And then we'll carry on after the first line. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Because now we're going to make some space on the bow for these two minims, these two half notes that we've just finished on. We need to be able to play those with the whole bow, but I was in the middle of the bow, wasn't I, at the start of line 2. So we're going to go. Can you see how I creep up to the heel of the bow to start playing a whole bow on the minim, on the half note? Let's try that together, shall we? At the start of line 2, 1 and 2 and. Up bow longer and long bow. Now here you can do two things. That A, you may have noticed that I was deciding what I was going to do. I decided to go to the heel of the bow and play the next 4 bars at the lower half of the bow. That is one possibility. You might play a half bow on this A. If you've spotted that on time, save the bow and go to the middle so that this bit comes in the middle of the bow. That would be my preferred option, because if I play this in the same place of the bow compared with the start of this piece, that will sound more similar, you see. So both options are good, but if you want to go to the middle, that is perhaps more similar to the beginning of your piece. Now let's carry on at line 3, and there you are in the middle of the bow. 1, 2. And you've noticed 1, 2, 3. And of course this dotted bar is 2 beats long. Those two notes slurred together make up the same value as a minim, as a half note. So you use the whole bow. Let's play on the dotted note, shall we? 1 and 2 and. In the middle now. Lovely job. And you will have noticed that this piece is perhaps a little bit easier again. And that is nice to occasionally chop and change a little bit. Play something a bit more challenging, play something a little bit easier. So there you have it. Let's see if we can play this as a duet then when it is a bit easier, shall we? So how are we going to do this today? We're going to play this piece twice over. The first time I will play it along with you, and we'll both play the top part. Then afterwards, after we've done that, immediately we go back to the top and I'll play you the accompaniment part. So you're going to play twice the top part, and the second time you play it, it will be accompanied. Let's give that a go, shall we? 1 and 2 and... That was very clever playing, well done. Now, it may be that you haven't in a mile got to the end, and that is perfectly fine, because this is very much a process that you get started, and maybe on day 1 you are able to play 2 bars. Maybe on day 2 you might be able to play to the end of the first line, and it may well be that it will take you about a week or so to play this completely with the duet part, and that is okay. We're in no rush to push it forward. Yes, we are, but these things are difficult, so please allow yourself enough time to go over it and over it and over it again, and eventually you will manage. Thank you for sticking with me right to the end of this video. I very much look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.